tell you that internet is not what's happening right now. So we kind of put our brains together and created this event. You'll see we finally have the Metaverse up. These are actual people in their avatars. They're in alt space VR Metaverse, and they're just chopping it up. They're talking. That's NFT art on the walls, our flyers. There's a bar over there, and a lot of different things that are going on. And I'm sure we'll kind of walk through that a little bit later. But the DJ is also streaming in the Metaverse. There's a rooftop if you go up to the bar. Or upstairs, there's a rooftop that has a pool and it has a natural skyline. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, we can maneuver through that and answer any questions, because I know a lot of people have questions about it.
So a lot of the scan codes back there are also the art that's on display. So you can scan there as well as outside.
Yeah, so there is a sign outside, and it's 360 Fashion Network. They have robotic dresses, so if you scan that QR code and then you just go through the prompts, you can see the AR dresses come up. And that's outside because when you do it, there's actual like models and you can walk around them. So not just looking at it in AR, but you can walk around and you can see signage, you can see like the models and what they're wearing. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so we're gonna start the panel. Actually, Nashville Design Week has something to say. Anyone from Nashville Design Week want to say something before we get started? All right, well, while we're waiting on them, Scott. So this is Scott Lewis. I'll let him introduce himself, but he is an expert in NFTs, DeFi, all of those things, crypto, blockchain, Web 3.0, all of them. And then we have Brandon, who is right there. He is an exhibiting artist. And so he's on here, and he's actually very knowledgeable too. I know a lot of artists want to get in this space and they want to understand what NFTs are. And so it's great to have you here, Brandon, because you can tell us about your journey into it. But first, I'll let y'all kind of introduce yourselves really quickly if you want.
I'm Scott. Been building in the area since like 2017.
Closer to the mic.
Oh yeah, hey, thank you. I've been like kind of in the NFT community since 2017 also, and kind of like as NFTs have gotten really popular, kind of the idea of owning them has gone really kind of viral in society. Have been focusing more on building stuff for the NFT community.
Hey everybody, my name is Brandon, and I am definitely a fine artist, somebody who's educated in graphic design, so I'm kind of inclined on making digital art, but I actually really have a primary focus on painting, abstract designs. You can actually view some examples of my work on this far wall over here. I view the Metaverse and NFTs and cryptocurrency as kind of just the future of commerce is, so I would absolutely love to bring about fine art in that space as well, let people know that it can be art-centric, and because it's a really scary space right now because it's not very user-friendly, and a lot of people refer to NFTs and cryptocurrency as the Wild West right now because of just the lack of regulation that's happening in it, and just the kind of crazy tales that happen day to day of the get rich quick or get broke quick schemes that happen in the space. So. Again, I love the purity of what art is. Its value is kind of upfront, and its demand is either there or it's not. So I'm kind of hoping that I can exhibit my work in some of that space and do it early.
Yeah, so how many people know what NFT stands for? Okay. Can someone tell me? Okay. So I'm gonna let Scott explain what a non-fungible token means. Like, what exactly is that for the people that didn't raise their hand?
Yeah, so I guess it's like a very like simple functional definition is if you have the token like Bitcoin or Ether, you can split it all up and like a tenth of an Ether that someone else owns and I own, they're kind of the same. But it's not fungible, which means they can't be like combined, right? Like maybe it's like $2 in your bank account versus like a really dirty dollar bill and a clean dollar bill. For $2 in your bank account, it's kind of the same money, but the actual cash, like you'll be able to tell the difference. Kind of like a more like maybe a higher level definition, not related directly to the non-fungibility, is that there's kind of a new social construct around who owns what. And so if you're like, how do you own it, like if an artist makes digital art without NFTs, how do you own a computer file, right? If I can copy a computer file, did I steal it, right? Maybe, probably, yes. But just like we have a land registry for who owns what piece of property, and we all accept that as the ownership of that land, and like I don't go live in your house just because I don't believe the land registry is real. There's sort of a consensus that these registries of who owns what NFT, that's the owner, even though we can all have the JPEG on our computer if we want.
Just to add on to that, right now I see a lot of people in the space look at an NFT and say, what's preventing me from taking a screenshot of this? And now I have this $1 million JPEG. To which I would love to tell them, if you went to the Louvre and took a picture of the Mona Lisa and you had it on your phone, does that prove that you own the Mona Lisa? No. The whole idea about the blockchain is that you can look it up, it's a serialized receipt, it says who owns it, it also has a history of who's purchased it and for what price since its conception, as well as the information on who made it, because who made the art and who owns the art are actually both pretty important in this space.
So an NFT is not necessarily associated with art. It could be anything.
Yeah, for sure. Like you could make NFTs out of like .com internet domain names, maybe someday if you wanted to. But generally, the NFTs people are buying and selling are articles or basic. Maybe it's not all art. Some are more arty than others.
Right.
So why is this important to artists? Like, why is it so significant for the creative community, NFTs, or even like the Metaverse, or all of these things? Like, why is this so significant?
I mean, I think if you like, for me, or how I see it, if you're thinking about we're kind of like an internet native society, but we don't have like internet native art is not something that actually, without NFTs, it's hard to get paid to make, right? Like, very awesome designers are being paid very little to do commercial art and like logos and things like that. But like, if you're really making things that makes people like have a moment of realization or reaction to what you're making, if you did that as a painting, right, you could sell that in a gallery. But if you just did that in a digital format without NFTs, it's kind of hard. And so NFTs change that and makes people that are creating digital art actually rewarded for the conversation.
Yeah, I would say that's absolutely right, just because the way it works is that a lot of these blockchain applications require you to log in with your own cryptocurrency wallet, and that is kind of your account. You don't even need to set up a username or login. You just log in via that, and then the program checks whether or not you own the NFT through your wallet. It just looks directly at it and says, okay, you have it, or you don't. So I personally believe that NFTs, at least for artists, will generate, like he said, it gets the artists paid, first of all, because the way that they sell NFTs is also the way they receive cryptocurrency through their wallet. But in a way, it cuts out the middleman in a lot of industries. And in art, it would, if I wanted to, I could potentially sell directly to consumers through cryptocurrency purchases and not have an agent. I'm not going to say that it supersedes galleries, but multiple accounts to where if there was an artist and audio clip on the NFT, the musician could also get paid a portion. If this NFT was released in a gallery or in a public space, maybe they would get a portion because they were had to do with its conception. So NFTs are really interesting because the whole idea of something being decentralized is that we don't have to rely, we as creators don't have to rely on things like Patreon, Etsy, eBay. With the right tools, we can be our own shop, accept our own currency for the prices we set, and if those artworks should be successful and create a market in which people are buying and selling them, we can still be making money off of that passively.
Yeah, so I'm going to open it up for questions soon, but I like what you said because this is a gallery that right here that was created. It has NFT art in it. You can click on the art and go to, like, for example, someone's OpenSea page and purchase it. So a lot of times artists have a harder time getting into galleries. Well, they can create their own metaverse and they can throw parties, just the same, and they can make it look however they want to make it look. So the possibilities are limitless. And these are people that are from across the world, not local, So there's a lot of possibilities with this. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we'll open it up for anyone else that has any questions. Just want to bust the myth real quick. I told Scott I'd ask him. So are NFTs and blockchain and all this stuff, is it bad for the environment?
I would say that, right now, most NFTs are on Ethereum, which is running on an algorithm called proof of work that can be traced to carbon emissions. That's the only blockchain that has NFTs and is running on that. The rest of the blockchains with NFTs run an algorithm called proof of stake, which is just kind of the same as the computers that run everything, every other thing on the internet. But I think since most of the NFTs are on Ethereum, it's important to talk about what Ethereum is, why it is what it is, and what it's becoming. Ethereum was always, from its founding, took climate change seriously and had transitioned to proof of stake on its roadmap. Right now, where Ethereum is, it's kind of had its kind of pilot proof of stake is running in production. It's called the Beacon Chain, if anyone calls Ethereum and knows what that is. Currently, the goal is in Q1 of next year that there'll be an event that's called the Merge. And that is the merging of the proof of work chain into the Beacon chain, which runs on proof of stake. And at that point, all of the environmental kind of damage associated with proof of work, that won't be a part of Ethereum anymore. So a reason why it's kind of gotten using a lot of electricity is because Ethereum's grown a lot faster than anyone expected. Like $700 invested in Ethereum back in 2014 is $1 million. And so that's growth that was way faster than anyone kind of expected. And that electricity usage is in a way proportional to that. And so now that it's become kind of it's always been transitioning to proof of stake, but I don't know, it's coming soon. In a year, I'd be shocked if it's even if it's not.
So do you know how much energy the financial services sector uses compared to Ethereum or any of these cryptocurrencies?
Yeah,
I mean, if you compare it to that.
I try not to get too much into
Yeah.
Bad numbers go viral on the internet a lot better than good numbers. So I don't know. I just it's over soon.
I just wanted to say that, I understand that people, earn and make money on a cryptocurrency, but just the power that Instagram generates, where we're constantly refreshing and uploading high definition videos, just the server space that Facebook alone, the energy that they consume, and that's just people socializing, not even trying to do something business where a simple 100 transactions for one artist might pay for their entire year's salary at a job, so to speak. Yeah.
That's a great point. So I'm going to open it up for questions. Does anyone have questions, comments? Shout it out. Come to the mic. Yes?
What are your favorite
Okay, hold on. So she said, what are your favorite coins?
Yeah, so I would say just like in general, if you only invest in really like high quality projects, you still can like lose like most of your money if the market goes into a bear market. It's extremely risky. If you put your money into like low quality projects, you'll probably lose all of it. So like, I don't know. I would say like in general, like if you're not going to spend a lot of your time really digging into the communities, probably just the big ones. Not that one. Really? That is it. Well, this is being recorded, so I don't want to get too deep into it. But not not Litecoin, no dog bunnies. Try all the other ones at the top. No.
What are the other ones left? Which ones are left after that?
I mean, I don't want to make picks, but strike those out, and the rest are probably pretty reasonable.
Was there a question at the top? Did I see someone? Yes.
Okay, what's the most thought-provoking or stimulating NFT project, either generative, that really caught you off guard and you were like, this is so cool and I gotta own this just because of the concept about it?
Well, I don't like to talk about what I own, but I was really caught off guard. I was really fell behind and did not like spend enough time looking at finances when they first came out. And I don't know, I really like the algo. I really like how diversified they are. And I don't know, I'll just see what I haven't seen before, and it's like, oh wow. And I don't know, I think they're cool.
I purchase NFTs from time to time, depending on the projects that they are, and it's really interesting because a lot of them that are these little cartoons, that people use as their avatars for Twitter and stuff like that, are really kind of entries into a social club and or representations of a certain ownership of it. Like it's kind of similar to a stock or share of a company. Like by owning one of these, you kind of own a portion of it, so you have a say into like where the project goes. Which is really interesting. But there's this one project called Farmers Marketverse that I checked out. And it's really not successful right now, but it's really interesting because they connect with local farms around America. And if they make a partnership with the Metaverse project, then you get discounts to on their online stores. Like I had a bunch of raw meats like chicken and pork sent to me for free because I had this NFT and it was from a local farm, organic from New Jersey, and I had no idea what this was. The interesting part about it is that people that shop at farmers markets typically don't buy NFTs, so there's a paradox there, and it's like not successful at all. But I love it to death, and I think that for people who don't live in major cities where they can't get farmers markets, like can't shop at farmers markets, this could be an amazing way where they ship out locally grown or butchered organic produce directly to your house. And if they have a whole plan for an actual farmers market in the metaverse where you can access it in VR, just like you were touring through a real farmers market. And the booths would be websites that you could go to of the big farms.
So you're saying some NFTs have a real world component, whereas others don't?
Yes, they do. As a matter of, that's the whole point of my NFT project. Actually, I don't know if we have it up here, but like the idea is that
It's in the metaverse.
if you purchase one of my NFTs, you would get the actual painting mailed to you. So the NFT would be a 3D render of the actual artwork. So I would kind of spin it as this is a buy one get one deal, where like if you purchase this NFT, if you're the first owner of it, I would mail and you showed this to me, that I would mail you the actual painting, and from there you could have a painting at home, and also when you weren't at home, be able to show people on your phone this digital artwork that you have. But then also if you were trying to say use my artwork as an investment, you could resell the NFT or the physical artwork. It's completely up to you. That's art is subjective, and I think that again NFTs are a good vehicle for it.
Are you selling the NFT for more than you would sell the actual painting, since it's a combo deal?
Great question. I'd like to sell the paintings to be what I would consider the value of the actual painting to be. So right now, all of my artwork is commission based, so it really is. It's kind of up to negotiation. Just I don't have a general cost for my artwork, but the idea is that this would kind of be an investment. So I wouldn't want to sell it too cheap, but also I believe that art should be accessible to most people. So I wouldn't want to charge too much either. Again, the idea is that if I generated any interest at all, there's only so many, maybe 100 paintings, which is 100 NFTs. A lot of projects are thousands of NFTs. And if a million people are interested in one project and there's only 1,000 something for sale, it can become really big of a frenzy real quick. So when I'm dealing with one-of-one pieces of artwork, which is something I'm trying to get into, and it's a lot more work and not as easily mass producible, I'm hoping that it creates something where people really like it and see the real world value of it.
Any other questions?
If you're a creator, where do you start if you want to make an NFT?
Great question. Right now, it's my advice to you would just be go on YouTube, honestly, right now, because it's something that I'm also working on. A lot of creators in the space are trying to organize to answer that question, because there aren't a lot of tools or resources out right now that can guide people in that. But if I had any personal advice for you, I would just say figure out what the best form of digital art is for you to be displayed on a screen. And then simply just go look on OpenSea.io, which is kind of like the Wikipedia of NFT sales, like where you can sell things, and start just create your own account on there and just start experimenting. You will have to probably spend a little bit of money if you want to start minting NFTs to the blockchain. But if you feel really good about the artwork, and I would say don't be afraid to just go ahead and publish it, because you're kind of creating your own portfolio. It's a history, and even if you don't expect to sell it, again, you're kind of creating a piece of history for your own, at least for your own collection, through these experiments.
Yeah, OpenSea is a really good resource. I think they have is that where the NFT Bible is?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where almost every collection is right now.
There's a resource on OpenSea that you can look at, and it tells you like what to do as far as like starting NFTs. And then also just like getting into the community, people that are talking about it. I'll say Clubhouse, but it depends on what rooms you're in. But that's a good way to do it. You'll start to absorb and figure out like what the language is, and the best way is to actually mint one yourself, because you're going through that process. You're getting a wallet, you're figuring out the gas fees and stuff like that. So yeah. Any other questions? All right, well, I'm going to let y'all mingle. And they're here. You can come up to them and ask them questions. Scott's like,